Hello, and welcome back to Soul Star Radio. I'm Jacquelene Closemore, and I've just come back from overseas, and what an interesting little series of developments we have. Congratulations and many party balloons and soundings to the LGBTI successful writing into law of the right for people to marry people regardless of who they are. Although marrying bridges probably won't happen, I'm at least hoping. But certainly the ability to marry who you love, regardless of your gender or theirs, is actually a really important development of human rights. And it's interesting because today is Bodhi Day, so we've got that whole sense of enlightenment around this time of year. But also we're in between. We've got Bodhi Day today in Australia because, remember, we're always a day ahead of you guys in America. And then on the 10th, we've actually got Human Rights Day. So happy Bodhi Day, Human Rights Day, and celebration of the right of humans to marry other humans. And we've also had, all in the same sort of period of time, the time cover of the Silence Breakers. And I want to shout out specifically to Tarana Burke, who actually started the Me Too hashtag all that time ago. And I'm really looking forward to a documentary and congratulate her on her work, which we really should not forget in amongst all of this. And, of course, all the women who ever have spoken out against abuse. And also just even this morning I had some guy here and it was on Facebook, and it was a response to something that I'd said, where there was a post of Bondi Beach in Australia of a man, a beach inspector, telling a woman she couldn't wear that bikini, and frankly, she's got a figure to die for, which was not really so much the issue, although maybe it was, because what I wrote was, the beach inspector is wearing less than the woman he wants to take away, possibly because he hates that he is attracted to her, or wishes the bikini looks as good on him as it does on her. Plus, can't let these women get too much power, you know. The next thing they'll want is to get a job, be independent enough not to have to put up with a husband like that and leave him. And this video, of course, was from the 1950s, which is why I wrote that. And I've had some rather interesting comments back. Wasn't he a piece of work? I've written back, weren't and aren't still so many of them. Male writes back, really? Does remind of the sheer audacity and the right to rule everything, whether they were inside or out, or inside the law or not. Aussie men have come a long way since then. Okay. Besides Me Too, and then I put, of course, the picture of Person of the Year up there and said, well, okay then. Because that's very topical at the moment. We've got all of this going on. We've got this upheaval of the old patriarchy. And, of course, as for Jerusalem overnight, I'm sending a lot of prayers and healing to everyone over there, be you on whatever side of the story, the religions and also culture. And I really just wish we had leaders with a lot of insight. But I'll leave that part there. So I want to thank you once again for tuning in this week. And we're now going to go to our first caller. We have Jason in Chester, Pennsylvania. He feels actually like a really decent bloke. I hope I haven't frightened him off, which I don't think I have. Jason, are you there?
I'm here.
Hello and welcome to the show, and thank you so much for calling in. And on this very interesting day that we've got here in Australia, because of course we're ahead of you, but it's an interesting night where you are, I'm sure. Your date of birth, if I can, I can do a reading based on starting with that door opening thing of looking at your date of birth, if you'd like.
Yeah, it was 11/26/79.
Brilliant. You'll be looking forward to the end of this year in so many ways, I feel, and I do. Also get with you that loyalty is a very big and strong, powerful issue. I do feel that real sense of respect being an important thing for you, and that you are very, very sensitive to the energies that people have going on around them and around you. And so that's where sometimes you can feel like you just need to get away from from people. Just to have
exactly.
yeah, Wow, yeah. So relating to that one. And it's so that you can come back into being able to, deal with so many of them more, but you'll also love to just retreat out and away, and I feel in nature, and I also feel that you're not one of these people we might say that's entertained easily, if you know what I mean. There's a lot of intelligent there's a lot of intelligent thought that goes into things. You're really not into sheep-type herd mentality with people, and you really kind of like to think things out your own way, and you'll actually come at things sometimes from a really different perspective to where you may have thought you would have been 5 years ago, 10 years ago, but particularly the last 5 years, a lot of growth with you, a lot more understanding of not just your own perspective, but the perspective of other people that you come into contact with, and a real amazing ability to connect regardless of who they are or what culture they come from. But the question you wanted me to look at for you today, Dale?
Really my finances, and I just broke an ankle, and I'm trying to get over that and get back to work, and I just really need to know about my finances right now, and my son, custody of my son. That's the only thing I really need.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I just feel just everything's been happening at once, really, and with that ankle I do, and we'll keep sending you healing after the show as well, to help you with that recovery, which of course requires a lot more than simply the sending of healing. Certainly I feel like we've had a couple of setbacks with that ankle. It doesn't feel like it's been healing completely, straightforward, but I do feel it's going to be improving quite significantly over the next few weeks particularly. It's taking a bit to get you back on your feet per se, but I also feel like this has forced you to have a different way of thinking about things, and you've actually come up with some different ideas of what to do with the finances as a result of that. So I do feel that there's new plans going into action here, and I actually also feel the presence of an older male around you that's actually helping you with that, with some real practical thoughts and ideas and inspirations. Feels almost like an uncle type figure, but to me, I just feel as if I've got that presence coming in. There's some kind of new arrangement you're making early couple of weeks of 2018 that's going to help you with that part, and give you the necessary lift. It's like, the sunshine's coming back in on this situation, and, it's even though there's been a lack of feeling, terribly inspired about things over particularly the last 6 weeks on that particular matter, it's like we're getting some uplifting, particularly the first couple of weeks of 2018, on real practical solutions and assistance to help you, find a different way of working and organising that. So I actually feel like that's going to be good. When it comes to your son, though, what was his first name, if that's okay?
Jaden, J-D-N.
I got it. Okay. Oh, dearie me. This one here can be a bit like a nonconformist, a bit of a rebel at times. I do feel a really good heart there in him, but it's like we've had to chop and change what we're doing in order to best assist him, and sometimes that's meant you having to literally step back here and just go, well, my hands are off this situation. I have to let him make a couple of choices, and I have to place my trust that they'll be the right ones. So I do feel you're going to get a lot more connection with him, and I do feel so, and I feel like there's a big breakthrough. And I'm being told 2 weeks before Christmas, but we're literally not far off that. So it might just be in the next few days that there's this breakthrough on Watershed on that one. So I just want you to hang on to your hat. You're a very decent man. At times you've been put through some really ridiculous situations that are not actually of your causing. We can't help what other people do, but we can help how we respond. And that's, I think, the philosophy you have been using already, so I'm not going to, repeat that in the sense of here's what to do. It's what you've already been doing, and you just have to kind of hang on to your hat at the moment, if that makes sense. There's been a necessary period of separation, but it's coming back together is what I've got here. So I hope that makes sense to you and assist you.
awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're absolutely welcome, my dear. And as I said, I'll be sending healing love and light to you after this show for that ankle of yours. I know what an ankle break is like. It's definitely not fun. Sending you lots of love there, Jason. Thank you so much for your call.
Thank you very much. You'll have a good morning, I guess, there.
Yeah, that's absolutely. Thank you. Okay. So that was Jason, and you sort of really get that warm feeling from him where he's really trying his heart out there. And a lot of people have been doing that this year. And there's been a lot of contrast between, I guess, the light and the shadow of things. And sometimes people say, oh, you know, don't get me down with that bad news about that dark stuff. Well, light and shadow. The world is full of light and shadow, and it's just sometimes really important to be able to embrace, I guess, not only the good things that happen, but also responsibilities and also, you know, what can sometimes go wrong in life. And by doing that, it actually helps you to become more rounded and whole and actually able, I would think, to cope with times when they aren't the greatest. And, you know, to be able to find the positives in it, but also address, you know, what actually must be addressed and accepted. And a really weird example I had actually on the flight home just a couple of days ago was this kid kicking my butt. he was in the seat behind me on the plane, and he was kick, and I could feel it through the plane seat at the back. I turned around a couple of times, and then I said to the manner, excuse me, but I keep getting a foot in my backside. Do you mind doing something about that? It'd be really nice. And not sorry, not any acknowledgement, not words, nothing at all. She simply said to him, you've got nothing to be sorry for, and he continued to kick. I then asked whether she would like me to bring that up with the air steward. She then moved the child, swapped seats so that the child was then kicking my husband in the backside. And, of course, because he was sitting closest to the window and there's that little room that you can put your hand through, he actually, the next time, grabbed the child's foot and looked at him and said, stop it. To which the kid actually stopped it. Once again, the woman said nothing. I think this whole idea of there being no right and wrong, it's got some problems. There's some right and wrong in the world, and it's kind of, manners are an important thing too. So just something to think about when you're dealing with people. Being all love and light doesn't mean you have to necessarily, put up with things and say nothing. Boundaries are still a very important and relevant thing to bring into the equation when you're dealing with other people. So, in your quest to be more spiritual, that doesn't mean more anaesthetized or possibly paralysed. So with that, I might go to our next caller. We've actually got, I hope I can do this justice in the short time we've got left. We've got Gloria in British Columbia, Canada. Are you there, Gloria?
Yes, I am.
Hello, and thank you so much for calling in there, Gloria, and welcome to the show. And, so I'm really sort of feeling a lot of ups and downs going on with you at the moment, and a bit of nerves there too. But if I can get your date of birth, I can certainly go into more and do a reading for you if you would like.
It's August 29th, 1960.
Thank you so much for that, and I really appreciate it. And I do feel you certainly are very good at getting the good deal for others or looking out for others and making sure they're okay. And you've also, once again, got a very sensitive energy and a lot going on here where this year it's like, there should have been a lot of new beginnings. There should have been a lot of bright sort of moments, and it just feels more like it's been quite choppy and a bit up and down. There are good things to be grateful for sure, but it's been a year of having to really see what you can find in the situation to draw a positive from, and more to the point as well, the positives that you're bringing to the equation, don't ever forget those. I really want to shout out to you and say, don't forget how amazing and kind you are. There are times where people, there are times when people are not really seeing that, and there are times where people are not understanding why you react to some people the way you do, which is really more about them, by the way. And I don't say that lightly. I don't give that away to people lightly, because it's sort of almost telling them it's okay to be nasty. And you're not nasty.
Yeah.
It's just that sometimes you can react because you're so shocked, and it's like, oh, God, this is really doing my head in. And there can be a bit of a bite back because you're actually feeling quite put upon, and you're kind of trying to defend and create that bit of a space for yourself, but try not to go into that fear too much all the time, because that's what can push people away when you're needing help from them. But a lot of the time you do think by yourself anyway, because that's who you can trust to actually, get it done. And you do have a lot of integrity. That's another important thing for you. And another thing that will drive you nuts is when other people don't have that integrity. So that can be quite painful for you in a way when you're dealing with people like that. But was there a question you wanted me to look at for you today?
I was just wondering, I guess everybody wants to know, are their finances going to get any better, for work purpose? I need work purposes and to better my finances. Is that going to happen in the new year?
Yeah, look, it really feels like you're being given on-off kind of work that's not really completely steady. I don't feel like I've got full-time work there. When I'm looking at you, it almost feels like it's part-time and you're struggling to sort of get it moving. What I will do is I will post back up on my Facebook page, Soul Star Radio. I'll actually post back up a link to an abundance ritual, which is actually quite timely for the time of year it is in the Northern Hemisphere. You can actually call on this one, and I did that years ago and absolutely turned around my finances quite amazingly overnight. But at the same time, we do have to do realistic, practical things every day, and I feel you're doing that. I just feel that you're on times that are not exactly easy here at all. I do feel absolutely that within 2.5 years, this is dramatically improved. So I'm not talking about a little feel-good moment for 1 or 2 days. I'm talking about dramatically improved. There are definitely going to be more positive moments coming up in what we'll call pockets, but in the next 2.5 years, it's dramatically improved, and I do feel that that's where it's like all the pressure that's on you right now and all that kind of very almost Plutonian kind of stuff, if we look at which planet we're dealing with here as well. I haven't actually done your chart to know what I'm talking about, but I do feel like I'm looking at a lot of Pluto going on here. And when that shifts off in the next, as I said, the next 2.5 years off what it's actually banging on your chart, I feel like that's when a great deal of relief comes. And it's like the clouds parting. We can see the rays of sunlight. It's like, oh, phew, I can breathe now. I do feel we get there. But, yeah, we've just got to keep guiding this ship home at the moment in as much as you can. I actually also feel extra hours coming, not just because we're dealing with Christmas, but I actually feel extra hours coming from another employment source on top of the one you have, in addition to the extra hours that you'll get where you are or where you have been. But it just feels like I've got this overlapping where more hours are coming up with where you are, but there's also going to be another employment source that gives you other hours on top of that is going to help you get through, particularly the next 2 to 3 months, I'm told, and then that's going to certainly help. And I feel as well, tell me if I'm wrong, but and tell me if I'm right too, I guess. But I feel like the winter months are actually the hardest for you, not only financially but also emotionally, psychologically. It's like everything it gets really heavy. But then once we get into that sort of very late autumn, early spring, there's an entire lift off on your energy each year anyway. So it's like you may need to squirrel away as much as you can, making hay while the sun shines, sorry to use that really bad cliche, but you may need to do that sort of stuff while we've got more of the summery sunshiny kind of months of the year, so that when we get to this sort of point of the year, in as much as possible, you can kind of ride it through a bit easier. As kind of something to think about as a plan here, because it just feels like when the weather gets incredibly cold and the skies are incredibly dark for much longer, it really does hit you. And, so the good thing about that is if you use creative visualization of the sun and actually draw in the sun energy, that can actually help you a great deal with your mindset, and your mindset can assist you with the ability to draw in energy, and energy can be money, something for you to think about and really think about. And as I said, I'll post that up on the Facebook page so that you can actually read how to do the ritual. You don't have to grab absolutely everything that I've got there. You can use visualization things as well. I don't want it to be a ridiculous money spending idea. You can grab things out of your home or your garden and use in that ritual for abundance. So I hope that gives you a beginning point, and feel welcome to keep in touch if you need to. Okay, darling? And thank you so much for your in there, Gloria, and I wish you the absolute best with everything.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're absolutely welcome, darling. So thank you there to both of our callers. We've only had a brief time today because we had a rather interesting intercept with Mercury retrograde. I know I talk about that far too much, but it always does happen, particularly around Geminis, and I am one, so there you go. So thank you so much for watching or listening and tuning in. I'll be back next week, same bat time, same bat channel, but I'll be coming live to you from Whittlesea Chinese Medicine Clinic with the resident Dr. Anthony Holding back again, and we're going to be having a lot of fun with that, so it's going to be really great. Sorry to all the callers who call in that I can't reach on the show. You can always write in. And I can do a reading for you if you send an email as well. So just keep that in mind. And I'm always here each week, usually unless I'm on a boat somewhere in the Pacific, which I was lucky enough to be doing last week. So I look forward to catching you next time on Soulstar Radio. In the meantime, you can find me also on, once again, the Facebook page, Soulstar Radio, or the website, soulstar.media. That's media as in news. And thank you very much for watching tonight. You'll have some more wonderful shows on air, and you'll be able to call in and have readings as well. So join the rest of the evening on A1R Psychic Radio. In the meantime, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, you really ought to show it. Happy and you know it, clap your hands.